Welcome back to the show today. We are talking about which NBA player is the most likable. Likable meaning which player is the most collected, at peace, and supportive of his teammates. Obviously, everyone has a difference in opinion when it comes to who their favorite player is, and that's affected by which team you support, and that's affected by where you grew up, or which team your dad likes or doesn't like. But we're trying to figure out which player is the least likely to have someone sports hate them. Sports hate is a term that Bill Simmons came up with, means you like hate them in the context of sports, but in no other context. So I'm gonna be a bit of a cheater with this first one. I'm gonna start with a player who has won both the Sportsmanship Award and the Teammate of the Year Award. Those are two different awards. I'm gonna say Jrue Holiday. Really, the only reason he's not at the top of this list is because he's not a superstar. He's never been like the star player of any of his teams, which is part of what makes him humble and, dare I say, likable. I think the biggest factor for me is the fact that in July 2020, he donated the remainder of his salary to fight against racism and social inequality in America. Him and his wife Lauren started a foundation that they continue to fund. If I had an estimate of what that initial donation was, it was probably like $10 million. You may think, well, if I had that type of money, I'd probably donate even more than that. And maybe you would, but speaking for myself, I would have taken that $10 million and bought a bunch of stuff for me. I also want to point out, when it comes to women, Jrue chose a very different lifestyle than most NBA players do. He met his wife, Lauren, who was a soccer player at UCLA, while he was a basketball player at UCLA, and they got married a couple years after. The only thing more important to Jrue than basketball was starting a family. Again, for most young NBA players, changing diapers and reading bedtime stories is the last thing on their mind. They're thinking about. Luckily, for most of us, we'll never have enough wealth or social status to be in a position where a gold-digging hoochie mama could ruin our lives. Jrue even missed the beginning of the 2016 season to stay home and stay with his wife, who was recovering from having a brain tumor removed. There's a YouTube video online where they both talk about it. If you're interested in getting a little more perspective on Jrue and who he is, go check it out. But be careful, because you might find yourself becoming a Celtics fan this year. Holiday is also willing to do the dirty work, and he's not a flashy player by any means. Most of his energy is spent on the defensive end of the floor, with him being known as the best perimeter defender in the league. He can fight over a screen better than anyone. And a lot of people who know more than me about basketball say most of being a good defender is paying attention and caring enough to put the energy into staying in front of your man. These are attributes that are not going to get you on all-star teams, but they are going to result in wins. Jrue has made 2 all-star teams, but he's made 5 all-defensive teams. That tells you how much the NBA and NBA fans value defense. At this point, Jrue Holiday is not like an unsung hero. There are 10-minute compilations of media members, NBA players, NBA coaches talking about how underrated Jrue Holiday is. At some point, when a player is called underrated for so long, it just loses its meaning. But I wanted to bring up a thought I had the other day. Did the league's most underrated player in Jrue Holiday get traded for the league's most overrated player in Damian Lillard? I'm not trying to be a Dame hater, just hear me out. The Bucks took a player who was a major part of their defense, not just as a one-on-one player, but as a pick-and-roll defender, and a guy who's been incredibly available his entire career, and swap him for a player who has tons of individual awards, but has missed a serious amount of games over the last 4 years. Is not known for his defensive presence at all, is 4 inches shorter than Jrue, and cost $10 million more. I'm bummed that the Bucks traded away Holiday, but I'm glad they also lost Grayson Allen in the same trade. But that's a topic for another video. This is a clip I want to show where Donovan Mitchell and Jrue Holiday both drill back-to-back three-pointers.
Find some fluidity offensively and shut this guy down. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. Donovan Mitchell has dominated this third quarter.
I can do better. I can do anything better than you. No, you can't. Yes, I can.
I think their reaction and their attitude shows a lot about who these guys are. Just 2 men playing basketball, having fun. I really like both these guys. The next player I want to talk about is LeBron James. I know a lot of people hate on LeBron James for one of 2 reasons. Either you're a Raptors fan or a Boston fan or a Knicks fan and you've gotten your ass beat in the playoffs tons of years. Or you don't like him because he's incredibly arrogant and he has no problem gassing himself up, which is a totally understandable gripe to have. This man set up a press conference so he could announce his free agency signing. He also made a speech at the ESPYs to say he was not retiring, which I think goes without saying if a player is under contract and he's never said that he planned on retiring, that he is still gonna play basketball. And he literally tattooed the words "chosen one" on his back. I love LeBron. He is my favorite player, but I do want to show a few moments that I think are really cringe from him. Obviously, he's in this video as one of the most likable players, so I'm gonna make the case for redemption for him later. This is a clip from the Road Trippin' podcast where he publicly states that he should have had the DPOY trophy in 2013.
Mark, another champion.
Yeah.
Yep.
Won with the Raptors 2 years ago, who I've always loved.
Yeah.
Mark has my Defensive Player of the Year trophy at his house. But Yo, but that's no here nor there.
He's saying it jokingly, but you can tell he cares. Leave Marc Gasol alone, let it go. This one I think is the most cringe. On the show More Than an Athlete, where LeBron and his team, or his yes men, sit around and talk about themselves. I'm not trying to be mean, but this show is as self-indulgent as it sounds. Here's what he said.
I showed that the first wave of emotion was when everyone saw me crying. Like, that was all for 52 years of everything in sports going on in Cleveland. And then after I stopped, I was like, that one right there made you the greatest player of all time.
I think he makes a good point, but one of his buds should have challenged him on that. It's rough to watch Rich Paul just kind of nod his head while LeBron is just boasting about himself. He redeemed himself with this after he broke the all-time scoring record.
Does this now make you the greatest player of all time? Are you now the GOAT?
I'm gonna let everybody else, decide who that is or just talk about it. But it's great barbershop talk.
I want to hear you say it,
big fella. Listen, big fella.
I want to hear you say it, Bron. Say it,
me personally,
say it with your chest, Bron.
I'm gonna take myself against anybody that's ever played this game. But everyone's gonna have their favorite. Everyone's gonna, decide who their favorite is. But I know what I've brought to the table. I know what I bring to the table every single night, and what I can do out on this floor. So
Shaq was trying to bait him into saying he was the greatest player of all time. I like what he said. He believes he's the best. To me, this isn't arrogant. They're just saying what they believe, and I think athletes should believe they're the best if they're even close. So why I believe LeBron is likable is for this reason. I think LeBron shows us everything about him, what he's thinking and what he's feeling. Check out LeBron's Twitter feed. He's constantly tweeting, and a lot of times it's just like nonsense thoughts too. He's very honest and he's not fake humble. If he's in his feelings, you're gonna know about it. And for a guy who's constantly in the media, he's been able to stay out of a lot of drama. LeBron's also really funny and he doesn't take himself too seriously. We got him on SNL being silly. We got the time he tackled the fan after he made the half-court shot, pretending to drink a beer mid-game, and my personal favorite, when he put Wendell Carter Jr.'s glasses on his face. I don't show you these clips to make the video longer and get more ads embedded. I show you this because I want people to know LeBron is having fun out there, and that is why he is my favorite player. He's also very complimentary about the players on his team. He seems like he's always trying to empower them and make them better. Players like Alex Caruso and Austin Reeves. These are two guys that weren't drafted and they were on two-way contracts, meaning they were bouncing back and forth between the NBA and the G League. LeBron saw that both these guys had heart and they had a high basketball IQ, and LeBron was willing to invest in them late in his career. As a basketball fan, these are the kind of things that I notice. I notice when guys are having fun together and playing for each other. This to me is like a subconscious attitude LeBron has toward his career. I think guys like Jordan or Kobe had a more antagonistic relationship between them and their teammates. I think there was an effort there to kind of distance themselves from their teammates with status. This sort of, you're not on my level, but you should try to get to my level attitude. And this is definitely a way to motivate people, but it's not the most likable. It didn't exactly make me want to root for those Laker teams. And if you watch the Last Dance documentary, you realize Michael Jordan was mean. He motivated a lot of his teammates, but he said a lot of things with the intention of just hurting people. Personally, I'm a good vibes guy. I'd rather a team that seems to like each other over a team that's getting wins but seems totally miserable. I myself have chosen the life of being a content loser, rather than chasing a mirage in the desert that I've been told will make me happy. You tell me, who looks happier, Charles Barkley or Michael Jordan? I believe the most likable player in the NBA is Nikola Jokic. Jokic seems oblivious to the trappings of being an NBA player. Last week I talked about the players with an egregious sense of entitlement. So egregious they thought they were above the law. Jokic just treats it like he's a guy going to his job, like he's not being observed. Almost like there aren't people in the stands and the game isn't even televised. It's like he works at Pep Boys or manages a used bookstore. The fact that there's an economy observing him do his job seems silly. Like if you did work at Pep Boys and after a shift there were 20,000 people tweeting about how you upsold an air filter. I'm sure you've all seen this, but look at how he reacts when he hears he has to stick around for the parade in Denver after winning the championship.
So I'm curious what you are feeling right now, and if you're looking forward to a parade coming up in Denver.
When is parade? When is parade?
Thursday.
No. I need to go home.
Maybe he's doing a bit here, but bit or no bit, that's likable. During the series between the Nuggets and the Suns this year in the playoffs, Nikola Jokic pushed new owner of the Suns, Matt Ishbia, while he was trying to get a ball. Jokic was fined $25,000 for the push. Jokic made amends with Ishbia in this really adorable way. And here's what he had to say about it.
You know, I don't have nothing against it. I will do the same thing if there's anybody else in the Phoenix, just because if you guys follow that, that's what I like to do. I like to inbound the goal really quick and then just get advantage, keep the game going. I just wanted to make fun at least a little bit, you know, and I was hoping he's gonna pay my fine, but no.
This guy does not care. He is just being himself. But I do have to address the Markieff Morris push. This was bad, understandable, but bad. Markieff Morris checks Jokic in the ribs. That's a flagrant 2. Jokic retaliates and pushes Morris from behind. As much as I like Jokic and I don't like Markieff Morris, I have to say Jokic was more wrong than Morris. We all lose our cool sometimes, but you can't check a guy from behind. Not even Markieff Morris. Morris ended up missing 58 games because he had severe whiplash. Jokic was suspended for 1 game. Honestly, the punishment should have been a little more. I bring this up because I don't want it to seem like I think Jokic, or Bron for that matter, are Christ-like figures or anything. Jokic is a hothead and he's been ejected from 4 games in his career. My point is, he's honest about what he cares about. He's authentic. You're gonna know exactly what he's thinking and what he's feeling. There is no need for Jokic to say he's a hooper or all he cares about is hooping. He does not have to say that. And he's always going to tell you exactly why he feels the way he does. So ultimately, my rhetorical question to you is, what makes a player likable then? Is it the guy who's cheering on the sidelines? The guy helping every player up even when he's not on their team? The guy that holds his son or daughter while he's doing post-game interviews? Nah, not necessarily. Sometimes that shit's kind of annoying. It's the player that lets us in and hides nothing. It's the player we can relate to best as human beings, warts and all. Alright, as always, please let me know who I missed, who's your favorite player, who do you like the most? I always reply. Like the video if you enjoyed it. If you didn't like it, there's a button for that too. Thank you for being here. Be good to your mamas and eat a corn dog.